Boom. Boom. Ba-dum, ba-da-da, ba-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da, ba-da-dum, ba- ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Chirp, chirp, splash, 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 buzz, 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 chirp, 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 splish, splash, 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 splish, splish, splash, whoosh, splish, splish. I caught a tremendous fish and held him beside the boat, half out of the water, half with my hook fast in the corner of his mouth. He didn't fight. He hadn't fought at all. He hung a grunting weight, battered and venerable and homely. Here and there, his brown skin hung in strips like ancient wallpaper, shapes like full-blown roses stained and lost through the age. He was speckled with barnacles, fine rosettes of lime, and infested with tiny white sea lice, and underneath 2 or 3 rags of green weed hung down. While his gills were breathing in the terrible oxygen, the frightening gills, fresh and crisp with blood, that can cut so badly, I thought of the coarse white flesh, packed in like feathers, the big bones and the little bones, and dramatic reds and blacks of his shiny entrails, and the pink swim bladder like a big peony. I looked into his eyes, which were far larger than mine, but shallower and yellowed, the irises backed and packed with tarnished tinfoil, seen through the lenses of old scratched isinglass. They shifted a little, but not to return my stare. It was more like the tipping of an object toward the light. I admired his sullen face, the mechanism of his jaw, and then I saw that from his lower lip, if you could even call it a lip, grim, wet, and weapon-like, hung 5 old pieces of fish line, or 4 on a wire leader, with the swivel still attached, with all their 5 big hooks grown firmly in his mouth. A green line, frayed at the end, where he broke it, 2 heavier lines, and a fine black thread, still crimped from the strain and snap when it broke and he got away. Like metals with their ribbons frayed and wavering, a 5-haired beard of wisdom trailing from his aching jaw. I stared, and victory filled up the little rented boat. From the pool of bilge where oil had spread a rainbow around the rusted engine, to the bailer rusted orange. The sun-cracked thwarts, the oarlocks on their strings, the gunwales, until everything was rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. And I let the fish go. Spleesh, splash, splash, splish, splish, splash, tweet, 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 splish, splash, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Elizabeth Bishop. She was a cool person, I guess. I hear she was one of the greatest poets of the 20th century. What? You want me to give a biography? Fine. She was born in Massachusetts sometime in 1911. She lost her parents at a very early age. Her mom was in a mental hospital and her dad had died. After she lost both her parents, she moved around a lot while she was being raised by her grandparents who lived in Nova Scotia and her aunt who lived in Boston at the time. Well, that sounds like a bad childhood. Whatever. Let's see. She enjoyed the esteem of such contemporaries as Robert Lowell, but she also had a reputation as an exotic among the American poets. She shaped all of her poems out of her observations and experiences with wildly separated geographical and spiritual places in her life. In any of the poems, the reader can see the descriptive nature and thus what she tried to convey. Bishop suffered from asthma and other illnesses that was therefore homeschooled through most of her childhood up until she was 16. After that, she was on to continue her education at Walnut Hill School in Nantucket, Massachusetts, and later at Weiser College. After she graduated, she spent some time in Europe when she moved to Key West, Florida in 1938. Bishop wrote many of her poems that were collected in a book entitled North and South, for which she could earn a Pulitzer Prize. She moved to Brazil in 1944, where she spent most of the 1950s and 60s. While there, she met the woman who she would love until suicide separated them in 1967. After the death of her lover, she spent less time in Brazil. Instead, she chose to spend some time in San Francisco, New York, and Massachusetts. She accepted a teaching position at Harvard University in Massachusetts sometime in 1970. And in the same year, she was awarded a National Book Award in the poetry for her work, The Complete Poems. She was an esteemed author while she was alive, even joining and later serving as the Chancellor in the Academy Fellowship. She became most famous, however, after her death in 1979 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which was, despite all of her life's travels, the same place in which she was born. I don't know about you, but reading this makes me really hungry for a fish. I'm gonna eat one now.
Blah, blah. What does the story represent? I don't know. It was a fisherman who let go of a fish. Sounds simple to me. What more is there? Oh, you have it written? Fine. The fish is a story about a fisherman who caught a tremendous fish. The narrator is, of course, speaking to us in the past tense. In addition, the narrator tells the story with admiration for the fish which it was caught. Initially, the narrator pointed out all the ugly stuff, eyes, gills, peeling skin, and like. However, the narrator quickly moved into describing what was inside the fish, both in the literal guts and in the non-physical attributes. The narrator moves in describing the trophies of the fish and implying that a story must come with each of the lines. The veritable beard of the wisdom that is, and an object of reverence for the fisherman, and the fisherman sympathizes with the creation. Observation is soon moved into the boat at the lake surrounding the water, the narrator, and the fish. The oil and the motor becomes objects of rainbows and beauty, not just dirt and rust. With a new view on the life, the fisherman releases the fish to live another day, maybe to just get caught, and releases again. Either way, he respects the hardship that his boat, and the fish have all endured. Geez, that was a long-winded, and I'm out of here.
Man, it was a real good catch. It really was. The fish was huge. I mean, that thing could have been 6 foot easy. I mean, look at this thing. 6 foot easy, man. I was shaking the boat and everything. About broke my line. But I'm just glad I let it go, you know. Just maybe someone else can catch it and have a, nice experience like I did.
So why is it important? Well, I guess it emphasizes appreciating the world around us. The boat was pretty or something like that, and the fish was majestic to the fisherman. He got a whole new view on the world, but he did go back to fishing. So I guess he still kind of liked to do that. We should appreciate what life gives us, but we should also still enjoy what we do. Sometimes society needs to take a step back and observe, appreciate, and then continue their day-to-day tasks with this in mind. Anyways, are we done? Good.
Yatta